So, yay, welcome everybody to Monday night. We have Kathy Murphy here tonight. And let me just tell you, I love her. She's amazing. She runs one of the most successful international book clubs that I've ever heard of. It's called the Pulpwood Queens. If you haven't heard of it, I put the link in the comments for you guys to check out. But I am just so excited because this is something authors need. It's a way for you to connect with your readers and your readers to connect with you, to get involved and kind of give back as an author and support other authors. So Kathy, with all that being said, please take it away.
Well, I am really excited to be back with you, Sandy, Amy, everybody. And I want to introduce somebody who just signed in. That is my better half. My new executive director is here tonight, Mandy Haynes from Ferdinand. Oh, help me. She's from Florida.
Fernandina Beach.
Yes, and she is an artist, and she came to me just as an author. Her books are amazing, and she volunteered to take the step in where, I lost my executive director a couple of years ago, and she'd been helping me for 20 years, volunteering, helping me, and she passed away. And it was sudden and shocking. And then Mandy came to me. And after she helped me Girlfriend Weekend, she does like you do, Amy, with Sandy. You do the behind the scenes things. You guys have skills. So I brought Mandy in as my executive director. And I'm going to tell you, I have a knack for finding authors that have incredible talent. And she's being compared to Eudora Welty. Her stories are Walking the Wrong Way Home and Sharp as a Serpent's Tooth. Say hi, Mandy.
Hi.
And she's in Florida. So the Pulpwood Queens has always been an international book club. Well, probably after the first couple of years. We started out, we were the Pulpwood Queens of East Texas, because I had a big dream. I didn't want to just make it of Jefferson, Texas, where I used to live. I wanted to make it where it was going to cover the Arklatex. And little did I know that within the first couple of months, I had the Oprah Winfrey producers calling me, wanting to know if they could do a feature on me. They've been hearing about me. I'd gotten a lot of press when I opened the first and only hair salon bookstore in the country. And I was doing author events and author makeovers. So they contacted me, and we were on the Oxygen Network for a show called Dallas Style. And really, it was exciting to be on that. But what was even more exciting is who I was on there with, because I was on there with a little unknown then singing sensation. Now, this is back, 20 years ago, a little unknown singing sensation by the name of Beyonce. And now look where she's gone. So she's gotten a little further than me. But right after that, I had a Los Angeles Times reporter come and cover me and followed me for a week as I went around I had like 12 book clubs then. And they ran a 3-page story in the Los Angeles Times called The Tastemaker. And I got over 1,000 calls in 2 days when that came out one Sunday morning. And then from there, Newsweek, Time, Wall Street Journal, we've made cover of Dallas Morning News, Houston Chronicle. And then we kicked off Good Morning America's Read This Book Club. And I've got another, Tumbleweed Smith is going to be doing a big story on me and all his newspaper and radio shows. And here I'm on you guys' show. I mean, it just continues and continues. And I think the only way it's going to stop is if I croak. But luckily, I've got somebody like Mandy who will keep it going, because she's like a little bitty baby sister. So thank goodness for Mandy. And we have both men and women in our book club. So we're the Pulpwood Queens and Timber Guys. And that's kind of a little tongue-in-cheek name, because here in East Texas, the industry, and a lot of people don't think of Texas this way, but I live in the piney woods. Pulpwood, P-U-L-P wood, is the industry, and it's made into all kinds of things from construction materials. And I just thought it would be funny to be the Pulpwood Queens. And we mandatorily wear our crowns and our tiaras. This is one that was given to me. It's vintage, and it has the Eiffel Tower on it. It says Paris. I just thought, so to show my international flair. My friend Stephanie Chance gave it to me. But we have thousands of members, over 800 chapters, and now we're in 20 countries. Can you believe that? And it was all because I just wanted to be in a book club. Who knew? Who knew? And so, you know, I've seen myself go through every hair color, every clothing size. You know, I'm a senior citizen now. I'm 64. I'm on Social Security, but I'm young at heart because I'm around young people like Mandy and you know, I went back to college at 59 and hung out with all those kids till I got my art degree. And I just feel like the more we read and we're continue to be lifelong learners, it keeps you young at heart. And you know, this is the first time, you guys, I've dressed up in like, well, I dress up every time I do a Zoom, and I look forward to it because normally I'm in my paint clothes, because I don't know if you can see behind me, but these are two of my newest paintings that I did that are going to be in a gallery show in Tyler, Texas coming up. So La Moreau Gallery. So, and then Mandy, who's here, is also an artist, and she's in gallery out in Florida. We're doing collaborations together, and she makes felted, I don't even know how to describe them. They're like light fixture felted art pieces, and we attach them to our my artwork, my paintings. So we're doing lots of collaborations. I'm a celebration of everything to do with the arts, anything to do with storytelling. To me, painting is storytelling. To me, songwriting is storytelling. To me, theater is storytelling, movies. So that's what I'm doing, guys. And it's a lot of fun.
So, Kathy, tell about when you I mean, I found out about you like at least 20 years ago when I first was doing some research and looking for book clubs and looking for ways to promote authors. And I found it. So how did you get started?
Well, I was a book publisher's rep before I started all this. And what happened, this was back in the late 90s. I took a job. I was a bookstore buyer and children's manager of a chain store here in Louisiana and Texas. And I took a job as a publishing rep. And so I called on 4 states, Louisiana, Arkansas, Oklahoma, and Texas, and called on bookstores. But then the bookstores started closing because of the big box chains. It seems like that was, you know, just yesterday, but that was a long time ago that the big Walmarts and Sam's and Books A Million and all these Barnes and Noble started coming in, and the little hometown booksellers were having a hard time competing, just as they are today. So they started closing. So I got offered a job as this book rep. It was a dream job because all I did was get to travel, which I love, talk to people, which, as you can tell, I'm a talker, and talk about books, which is like my favorite thing in the whole world. So when I was the last one hired, and when all the stores started closing, I was the first one let go. Ironically, if I'd stayed with them 3 or 4 months, the employees bought the company and now run it today. So, but this never would have happened. I would have never opened a hair salon bookstore. And the reason why I opened a hair salon bookstore is after 2 years of college, I ran out of money to go. So I thought I need a profession. So I took a year off to go to beauty school and I became a cosmetologist. And so I've been putting myself through college. It took me 43 years to graduate. 43 years. I'm not a quitter, y'all. I just kept going. I'd take a class, I'd run out of money, take a class. And then my kids became the type. I have 2 daughters, and I had to get them through college and you know, and now they've gone on to their masters and different things. So that was my top priority. But after my divorce, I was forced to sell my home and my business. So I moved here to be near them. They were going to the University of Texas. And but I've been running the Pulpwood Queens now for, this is the 21st year, and there's no end in sight. I don't even know where it's going to go, but it's pretty exciting when you talk to somebody that you don't know, and they go, I heard about you 3 years ago. I talking to an author up in Oregon, and she goes, everybody knows who you are. And I go, really? Do they really know who I am? I just think I can't even imagine with all the celebrities that are out there today. But it's amazing. I know they do in New York because I deal with so many publishing houses, but it is kind of amazing but I'm lucky because I still have a lot of anonymity. I can, live in the woods, and I did have a stalker incident. So that's why I live in a gated community. It's going to be in my next book, the story. So if you want to read about what happened to me, I couldn't believe it. I had a woman show up at an art gallery where I was doing an event, and I thought she was going to kill me. I think she had a knife, and I talked her out of it. Whew, did I do some talking? So I'm very careful about what I put out there now. I can't imagine why anybody would want to stalk me. Don't they have somebody better to do that with? But I'm having a good time. And since the COVID hit, I had, my first book, and I've showed you guys this one before, is a story of how books saved me. The Pulpwood Queens Tiara Wearing Book Sharing Guide to Life. And I know guys, James, don't always want to pick this book up because I see that pink cover. I didn't have anything to do with the pink cover, okay? That was the publishers, started that trend. But I had 66 blurbs for my book, and most of them were from men. They love my story, and I'm such a tomboy that they really loved it. But it was endorsed by the Texas Library Association, and now I'm coming out with its sequel, which is called The Pulpwood Queen Goes Back to School. I've been working on it for a long time, and now that I'm through college, it's really the story of that, but it's so much more, because in this world, you can't ever rest on your laurels. You constantly have to adapt and change. I'm always singing that Karma Chameleon song by Boy George all the time because I feel like a chameleon. I have to change so many times. But this past year, I asked all my authors for the 20th year to write their stories. I have over 70 authors, and the Pulpwood Queens celebrate 20 years. That's me sitting under the hairdryer with my stacks of book. But, I think it's because it was so different of anything that ever been done. Before COVID and before, everything that's happened, I had optioned my first book to DreamWorks. I was pretty excited about that. And then, all this happened, and that Hollywood is just basically just doing animation right now. My option has expired. I'll still keep plugging. Someday somebody will hear the story about me, probably after I croak, but it doesn't matter, because if you do what you love, if you're passionate about books and authors and reading and getting people on the same page, that no better friends in your life will you ever make than through a book club. And I truly believe that. I've constantly am reminded of it every day when authors call me and say, hey, I've got something. Can you shoot something out there for me? I go, absolutely. It's amazing who all I talk to and who I've got to meet through the years. But I will tell you, we all put our pants on one leg at a time. Most of the celebrities I've met, I'd say a good many of them are just like you and me, but they get protective because there's a lot of crazy people out there. So you just have to treat them just like you'd treat your own family, and you get along just fine. But here we are, and we've got so many new programs now that we are doing everything online.
I love
That's
it.
great.
Kathy,
I love that you're.
Where do you see, I know with COVID hitting, there's social distancing and everything. Where do you see like book clubs playing like a key role for authors? I mean, how do you see that in the Pulpwood Queens?
Well, you really need to talk to some of my authors, because and they tell the stories in this book. This book came about because an author by the name of Claire Fullerton, who wrote Little T, and she's got fabulous author out in California, came and she wrote a story about her first time coming to the weekend. She said, I didn't know what I was getting into. when I came to Girlfriend Weekend, but when I left, I picked up, quadrupled my fan base, and I found my tribe. And it's kind of what happens when have you ever met somebody and you just connect the first time you meet them? I've had this happen to me on so many cases, as I know it happened with Mandy. But when you can connect with somebody and you can share not only the author's books that you're reading stories, but your own stories, you create a community. And I think that's why we've grown so much this COVID year, is because we couldn't meet in person. So I started doing online. We announced we were going to start an online book club for all of those who could not get to the convention or the book club meetings. And I'm finding that I am getting to know my book club members and my authors better than when I would even have them come in for my convention. So I know that someday when we do get back together, when we do have the real event, we'll also be doing this too, because there's so many people that literally cannot leave their homes that want to be a part of something bigger than themselves. So we'll be a hybrid. We'll have virtual Girlfriend Weekend, and then we'll have the live event, which the live event is, I had an author from California come, and he wrote all these television sitcoms like The Wonder Years and Sanford and Son. And he said, I've been to every Hollywood party. I've been to them all, the Vanity Fair, the Oscars, I've been to Grammys. He said, but I've never had as much fun as I did as your great big ball of hairball, because all the authors, we all dress up under a theme, and then we have lots of surprises. So, this next year's theme is I Have a Dream, and I say 2 because we always hold it on Martin Luther King weekend, but this year it's going to be a week long. It's going to be a week long, and we're going to be bringing in authors from everywhere, and maybe we can get you guys to all come in and do a panel. Wouldn't that be awesome?
I am there.
We are down for that. Yes, yes.
Well, we will do that. We talked about that a little bit last year.
Yes.
For the dates for this year?
It's always the same weekend as Martin Luther King, and I think it's somewhere around the 18th, 14th, 18th, but it'll be from Monday to Monday. It's going to be a full week.
And that's 2022 you're talking about.
2022. It's going to be online and virtual. We'll do it through Zoom. And if you sign up to become a Pulpwood Queen now until the end of April, and we offer reader memberships, international memberships, author memberships. You want to sign up if you're an author as an author member. It's a little higher, but you get featured in our newsletter that goes around the world with your book cover, whatever. And then we have a publisher publicist, because we have lots of publishers say, well, I can't pay for every single one of my authors, but say I have 5. So they pay a set amount, and 5 of their authors can become members and get their books. And we have a lot of people that do that. And then you'll get a membership packet, and everybody who signs up will get one of my reads. And this, right now, it's Think Like a Monk, which is our International January Book Club selection by Jay Shetty. He's one of my favorite podcasters. He's from India. He was a monk, and he's the most inspirational man I've ever met. I love him and his wife. So you'll get a copy of the book. So that kind of pays for the membership. And then, but you have to subscribe to my Kathy L. Murphy YouTube channel, and you have to be a member to get the price of $99, because otherwise right now it's $2.99 if you buy it on my website. So just email me at thepulpwoodqueen@gmail.com after you've purchased it, and I'll tell you how you can pay, and we'll get you in our database. But it's gotten so big, I have to do it that way, because I can run reports for my Girlfriend Weekend or my accountant or whatever of, breaking it down by all different categories, and it makes it so much simpler. I'm learning technology. I'm an old dog, or maybe an old cat, learning new tricks.
Put in the chats the write-up that Robert Gray did for Shelf Awareness. So it's a lot of fun if y'all want to read it, and it'll tell you about the
And
Girlfriends Weekend.
you posted the link, didn't you, Mandy?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
good. I saw
If you
that.
just go to YouTube and type Kathy with a K, L Murphy, it'll take you to my channel, or you can go on my website. Everything's on my website. You just click. We have a bookshop on my website. We have all our book club selections listed there. You can click on the books and it automatically takes you to one of our favorite independents. So we're helping independent bookstores, and bookshop.org. Main Street Reads has created a virtual store for us, for all of our authors. And the other things we have going, you guys, is every week we have a daily blog and we have a guest author. And our guest authors are officially our authors. And this is done with a winery in California called Breathless Wines. It's owned by 3 women. We partnered with them about 3 years ago. And they take our book of the month and they package it with their award-winning wines in gift boxes, so you can buy it for yourself or for your book club. You can buy it by the case. And the neat thing about Breathless Wines is they just won Winery of the Year and got featured in Forbes magazine. So we're pretty pumped about that. We partner with a wonderful, they're in Sonoma. Hopefully once COVID's over, we'll get out there. So we have our authors, when they're picked for the month, the first week is the author of the month, and they host it. And like Janet Skeslin Charles, who was in Paris, France, she blogged every day, and most people wouldn't even have access to Janet, but she's originally from Montana and now works over there at the American Library. And then we also, every Tuesday night, we feature an author for our online book club. So since none of our book clubs, a lot of them aren't meeting in person, they can come onto the online book club and do this. And there's interaction where you actually get to talk. First, we let the author, we do the interview, and then we let them talk. And if authors jump on board and we have time at the end, I'll say, tell us what's going on with your book. Because we're really all about building a community of readers. And then we started the Writers Club. It's a brand new International Pulpwood Queens and Timber Guys Writers Club. We meet the second Saturday of every morning at 10 a.m. We've had 2 meetings, and that's our authors are going to be mentoring to newbies and other authors. And then I have every Saturday night, the Pulpwood Queen Book and Film Club, and author Robert Gwaltney, who is an author in Atlanta, Georgia, and I host that show. All of these are put up on my Kathy L. Murphy channel. I have over 100 videos that I just started this late spring of interviews with people like Jonathan Hote of the Pat Conroy Center, Marley Rusoff, who's my agent in New York, talking about the landscape of publishing in New York today, to celebrities, everybody from Bruce Cameron, who did A Dog's Purpose, to Lorraine Dupree, who wrote the episode of Who Shot JR and who's one of my authors. We're featuring somebody kind of like you guys just each and every day, but we're trying to make it entertaining, and we're getting ready. Mandy and I are getting ready to launch something really big. And I think it's okay, Mandy, if we go ahead and make that announcement. We'll actually debut it on your show.
Ooh, yay. Love it. We love debuts. That's awesome.
An exclusive for
We are the debut queens.
You have the debut, but I'm going to announce this. We haven't got the date set, but it's already, we're booking in our guests. Years ago, I did a 13-episode talk show with Random House called The Beauty in the Book Show, where I was the host and I'd interview Random House authors, everybody from Yan Martell, Anna Quinlan, Pat Conroy, Fannie Flagg, Helen Simonson, Deborah Rodriguez, Lisa C., all these, and they would fly me to California, and then sometimes they'd bring them to my shop. And they tried to sell it to the networks, but this was before Netflix and all of the series shows. And so they just decided to make it go online, and it just didn't have, we were ahead of our time. So people watch them more today. You can watch them all on YouTube. It's the Beauty in the Book show with, my former name was Kathy Patrick. And you can watch those shows and you can see how I've changed my hair color. Because everything I do, it's always, is that her? But we decided to revive. It's going to be the Kathy L. Murphy show. And we're going to have on all kinds of different people telling the story behind the story of their books, to film, all kinds of people. I'm really excited about the first ones we've got lined up because we've got Karen Abbott. Abbott Kohler is her name now. She's changed her name to Abbott Kohler. Vince Spinato, Tina Sloan, the star of The Guiding Light. We've got a lot of really great authors that are going to be on there. And Mandy Haynes is going to be my Ed McMahon. We're going to do it kind of like, if you could cross Johnny Carson with the Graham Norton show. I don't know if you know the Graham Norton show. I love Graham Norton and I love Johnny Carson, but I really want to make it entertaining and fun. And we're planning on having all kinds of fun people on the show. And so that's something new. And it's going to be debuting on YouTube. It's going to be a YouTube show, and then hopefully it'll get picked up. Well, we shall see. But
and what's the name of the show?
The Kathy L. Murphy Show.
The Kathy L. Murphy Show. That's great. I love that. I love that.
Oh, it's there's a million Kathy Murphys out there, but there's only one of me. So, and then Mandy is going to be my sidekick, and Mandy she just makes me look good. You just need somebody to make you look good. And so, one day we'll just be switching places. She'll be taking it over. And, I'll be like Kathy Lee Gifford stepping down to be making movies. You never know. Might become a character actor in the last part of my, senior citizenship. You never know. You never know. So those are some of the things that we're doing. We've got a few other tricks up our sleeve that we're working on. And I share, I try to share as much as I can, everything about all my blogger friends and all my podcasting friends, because quite frankly, it's really hard right now to navigate for authors and books. People call me every day. Can you help me? Can you please help me? My book just died in the water. And I go, oh, baby, I'm right there with you. So everybody buy a copy of this book. This book was edited by Susan Cushman. And the cover is by artist Nicole Seitz, and it has 70 authors, and it was blurbed by Paula McLean of The Paris Wife, Lisa Wingate, Before We Were Yours. It was Jamie Ford of Hotel on the Corner of Bitter and Sweet, and also Patty Callahan Henry of Mrs. Lewis. I'm pretty proud of this book, but until I get back on the road, people aren't just seeing it. And then of course there's always my first book, and then my third book will be The Pulpwood Queen Goes Back to School, that I'm hoping to get out by 2022. Just need to get my heater and air conditioner back on so I can. It's hard to type when you're cold.
And those of you that weren't on at the beginning, she's still without water and power. It has been for over a month. So
I've got the water back on. I've got
you have the water. Okay, you have the water.
I have heat and air conditioning, and I'm the lucky one. There's a lot of people here in Holly Lake Ranch. There's 4,000 of them that still haven't had a plumber come out.
Wow, that's crazy.
And if you all saw the Matthew McConaughey fundraiser last night on YouTube, where all these celebrities came on board, it was like the Jerry Lee Lewis helping families in Texas get their heat and water pipes fixed. That was the most phenomenal thing I've ever seen in my life. And I got to see Post Malone sing country western music. Oh my God, I'm the biggest fan. It was so much fun. And Matthew McConaughey's just 30 minutes down the road from me from Longview, Texas. So I'm really proud of what he did for our state and helping all these families and schools and daycare. So
that was on YouTube? So we
on YouTube last night, and you can go on there and watch it. Just type in Matthew McConaughey. It's on his channel. He had Willie Nelson, he had George Strait, Clint Black, he had Lonely Boys, He had Guy Clark. He had every kind of music in Texas you could possibly imagine, and quite a few celebrities like Troy Aikman and Mattress Mike from Houston, you know, who does all the things to help people. He had the Dallas Stars, Dallas Cowboys. It was amazing. I was so proud of our state for what they're doing to help people. It was really cool.
So talk about the book clubs. I know you have over 800 right now. So
We do. And so many of them are Zooming right now. They're having Zoom meetings. And it's just, you know, I think a lot of people have Zoom fatigue, but that's why we have every week an online Zoom meeting for all of our chapters. So if you just get overwhelmed from running a book club on Zoom, Mandy and we got it covered because we're trying to keep everybody as enthused as we possibly can. It's every Tuesday night at 7:00. And I do it at that time because right before me, Adriana Trigiani has at 6:00 her book club meeting. And if you haven't been to hers, she's hysterical. I've spent my entire this year going on to everybody's live Zoom meetings and blogs. I've been doing the Tennessee Williams Festival this week, and I'm really excited about seeing some of the plays coming up. And then I'm doing San Antonio Book Festival. I just did the Pat Conroy March 4th Festival. They're all virtual. So you can go on there and I'll paint as I listen. And I've been really busy during COVID. In fact, I think that I probably got more work done in this past 2 years than I probably have in my entire life because there's nothing else to do. You know, I read, I write, I paint. I read, I write, and paint, and watch these, get on YouTube and try to educate myself on the latest technology on Zoom. And I'm impressed with Zoom so far. Mandy, I mean, we did that. We did not know what we were doing. And we had 70 authors at our festival. And it was pretty amazing. You can go onto my Kathy L. Murphy channel and watch. You need to watch the Robert Graves Shelf Awareness one and Carol Fitzgerald from the Book Reporter, and they're all coming back next year. So we're going to have the Dolly Parton Imagination Library on next year, and we're just creating partnerships with everybody. And all my blogger friends, I'm trying to give them, you know, a panel so they can promote let everybody know about what they're doing, like Pros in the Pandemic, Sue's Reading Neighborhood. Gosh, let's see, what's some more of them that we do? Oh, Mighty Blaze, Carolyn Leavitt and Jenna Blum were on. And we're just all trying to help each other out. And that's, you know, that's what you do when times are tough. You know, look how everybody helped each other after Hurricane Katrina or 9/11. You know, people really rallied to help people. And I don't think people really knew what happened in Texas with this ice storm, because I can't seem to get across to my insurance people that ice could cause damage. They would not pay for my roof. They said, ice can't cause that kind of damage to your roof. And I said, it can if it's on your roof for 2 weeks. You know, the ice was on my roof. All the trees bent down on my roof. So my whole roof has to be replaced, but I have to pay for it. So that's the way it goes.
So to join one of so how does that work as far as the book clubs? Do you join one of them or join and go to which ones you want to? How does that work?
All you have to do is join as a member, and you have choices of what kind of member. It doesn't matter what kind of member you are. Once you buy the membership, you get access to everything. And what I do is whenever I say, okay, Tuesday night book club, email me if you want to come on the Zoom meeting, because we're finding out that if we post the Zoom online publicly, we're getting hackers. And so I say, email me and I'll send you the link. And then I have some people just say, send me the link every time, because they come on every time. But that's until they figure out how to stop these people from coming in. And on my page, when I was making it public, like a good example, I did an actor in Dallas, who was starring in The Chosen, Advait Guge. And he also just did a State Farm commercial, and he's writing a series of books. He's a singer-songwriter. He's a very handsome young man. And I put it up on YouTube, and they kept putting up these gay porn sites on his page, and I'd take them down, they'd put them back, they'd take them down. So I do it that way, so none of these hacker people can go on and that's something you might think about too, because I know I didn't realize that you put the link right in when I shared that today. I usually make them email me. It's easier if you don't have to ask for it, but then you get some big surprises. I had a friend of mine that attended a women's conference, and a man came on. I won't go into the details of what happened when he went on to this convention, but they couldn't get him off fast enough. And I said, I never thought about that. So, and only members are sent the link. So we want everybody to join. And that really is my livelihood, because right now I'm stuck here in my little cabin in the woods. How many of you have had your COVID shots? I got one to go on April 5th. Man, I didn't think it was ever going to get here. And I've had so many family and friends that got COVID that are having long-term, really horrible after effects. Is that the word for it? They can't get
Side effects, yeah.
They can't get their breath. My sister, just keeps coughing and coughing. She can't quit coughing. And it's devastating and then all the losses that we've had too, because I know pretty much everybody's had somebody they've lost. I know I have. So I hope we can get this. Just use your common sense, wear your mask when you're out, and get the shots. So I used to be in Rotary Club, and one of our biggest fundraiser was for polio eradication. And there's only 2 countries in the world that we still can't eradicate polio because they think it's a government conspiracy. That's Afghanistan and Pakistan. But if you see what happens to a child when they get polio, come on, we need to get our vaccines, people. It's you don't want any child to have to suffer through that. So that's all I'm going to say about that. But I'm excited to be here. I'm excited. So many people. Yeah.
I love it. So Kathy, I do have a question. CJ Moore has a question. Can you kind of go over some of the benefits if they decide to join at any level membership, kind of what they get for joining?
Okay. Well, first of all, you get a ticket to all our parties. If you join, you have to be a member to come to our Girlfriend Weekend. It takes me a full year to put that event together. And this past year, I wasn't going to have it. I canceled it. And then I had all my authors coming to me and say, would you please have it? We'll pay to come. I go, oh, I can't charge. And they go, yes, you can. It's a matter of, life, or we're not going to get our books out there. So I put that event together in 2 months. I spent every night trying to teach myself how to do Zoom and learning how to do this. And it went pretty seamlessly. Wouldn't you say, Mandy? We had, everybody goes, you would have never known that you didn't know how to do that starting out. And I just studied, but you'll get access to the Girlfriend, our annual convention. You get a free book when you join. You'll get a membership certificate. You get access to our online book club, access to our writers club, access to our film club, and then we're going to have some more things. So it's for a basic membership is $30 a year, and I think the book with tax is $30. So author membership's a little higher, because once you join my book club, if you tag me on stuff, I share with I try to share as many of the authors' books and things that I can, because I know how hard it is. And I've got a huge following. I mean, not only do I have 5,000, which is, on my homepage, we've got our book club page, and then our Breathless Bubbles and Books. I think we have over 2,000 members out in California that tune in every day and check that out. So there's a lot of benefit to it. And once, if I pick your book as an author, if you buy a membership, I read the author's books that are members first. I read everybody's books, but by gosh, if you join my book club, I'm going to put you in that stack first. So, and then if I pick your book, you get plugged into all those events, so that, and there's no charge for that. And I promote you for the rest of my days. I mean, I've got some authors that, like Lisa Wingate was with me with Tending Roses, and now, you know, she's sold over 2 million copies of Before We Were Yours. We've seen her go from little unknown Texas author to New York Times international bestseller. So, and we have a lot of authors that I'm not going to take credit for getting them on the bestseller list. I think we help get their books out there in a bigger way. But I've had a lot of authors tell me, if I hadn't joined your book club and they told the stories in this book, I never would have gotten this, and this. But I'm kind of the belief that if you're talented and you get your book in front of people, you're gonna make it. You're gonna make it. But how do you do that in this world right now? It's really tough. I know how to do that. In fact, I'm gonna be doing a panel for authors during Girlfriend Weekend on ways to market your book. I've been sitting in on these at these different festivals on, you know, online presence for your book. And I was telling even Mandy last night, I go, I need to teach this class, because I could have taught some of those people. In fact, I did a workshop on it at the Louisiana Book Festival on how to market your book. But most authors are not like me. They're introverted. They just want to write their book and hand it over to somebody else to do it. But unfortunately, the publishers don't do that anymore. They can't afford to do it, and then you have to hire somebody to do it. So unless you're rich, I don't know how anybody can afford a publicist. And most publicists charge anywhere from $10,000 to $15,000 to publicize a book. The average, I mean, the good ones. So, you know, join our book club, and, you know, I'm doing a lot of that for you just because I love books. And I am getting ready to go into another level, because I have people go, well, you did this for me. Could you do that for me? And I go, well, I could, but it's going to cost you, because that's going to take a lot of time. So I'm still working all those little things out. But I love promoting authors' books. I've always said books save me. I really did, because I think I grew up in a very dysfunctional family, and where a lot of people look for something to escape to, like alcohol or drugs, or, you know, different other addictions, to escape not the best situations in life, I escaped into books. And when I would read a story and I go, oh my gosh, their family's just like that. Last night, I finished watching Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. And I remember watching those movies growing up going, I don't understand why everybody thinks this is so controversial. That's home to me. And then I watched it last night, and I hadn't seen it in years, the end of it. And I thought, oh my goodness, that isn't normal. You know, that was normal to me. But I think that's why I love Tennessee Williams, is because I could relate a lot to the stories. But that's what happened when I started reading Pat Conroy books, and why every year I do a big fundraiser for the Pat Conroy Center is because I want to continue their tradition of supporting authors and young writers, and they've got all kinds of programs for authors and children. It's very important to me that we have these literacy centers going across the country, like Dolly Parton and the Pat Conroy Center. So, if anybody wants to know even more details, you know, send me an email. I'll give you a call and we'll talk about it.
Well, James is asking if guys can attend the girlfriend party.
Are you kidding me, James? They love coming. They love coming. In fact, it started out, the first one I had, I invited all the authors I'd featured that year in my book club, and we had a party out in my front yard of my home. I lived out in the woods, and we set up tents, and I had as many guys there as I did women. But when I started the book club, for some reason, women join book clubs, but men don't as much. I only know 2 guys that have book clubs. In fact, I'm going to be getting them on my show. One's in Montana, and one's, I'm trying to think where the other one is, somewhere in the South. But yes, and all the guy authors that come to Girlfriend Weekend, they love it. In fact, Robert Waltney, who came for the very first time, because he's got a new book coming out, and he thought, I'm going to check out these Pulpwood Queens. He came on board. He participated in everything, single thing we did, asked questions. And I was fascinated with him because he was so engaged. So I started just reaching out to him, talking to him. And now he's the co-host of my book and film club. And I've also picked his book. It's going to be our February 2022 book of the month. It's called The Cicada Tree. It is fantastic. So are you an author, James?
Yep. I'm an author and a publisher.
And a publisher.
Yes.
Fantastic. So you're publishing your books and others, or just yours?
My book, other people's books, I got what?
16.
16 books and maybe 7 or 8 authors now.
Wow. Well, you definitely want to come. You know, when we met in person, I had booths, and I had a lot of smaller publishers have booths at my Girlfriend Weekend. And Brother Mockingbird came, and there really was a brand new small publishing. And because they came and supported me, she published my book for me.
Oh, nice.
I wanted to help her. She goes, I'm a brand new publisher, and if you let me publish your book. And I said, you know what, I will, because I help first-time authors. Why not help first-time publishers? I mean, it's really tough, you guys. But yeah, we encourage you, James, to come. We've got lots of, what, do you have a particular genre that you pick for your publishing house?
Well, we publish sci-fi, fantasy, adult fiction, and romance. Although my romance writer over here is thinking of switching over to fantasy. So I have to find another romance writer.
Well,
I have one or two.
We do those genres. In fact, Dreaming in the Time of Dragons is one of my books this year, and her name is J. Claire. She's going to be coming up on a reading list. Go to my website, pulpwoodqueens.com, and look at the reading list.
I've been to your website today. I went there today.
And do you know who Pierce Brown is?
No.
He wrote, his first book was it Red Rising? Oh, it's kind of like.
Oh, no, I heard of Red Rising.
Yeah, okay. So I made it a book club selection and got him on board, and then he signed a 3-movie deal for his book. So he is like big time. And Grady Hendrix, he wrote the Southern Book Club Guide to Vampire Hunting. Oh my gosh, Grady has got, he's a trip. He's in New York City. He's got film deals left and right for his books, but we read all genres. The only genre, because I've got so many kids involved in, you know, high school, college kids, is I do not accept erotic, you know, books. You know, we've done some pretty tough books though, like, but I always say, please, you know, this is, if you're under 21, get your parents' permission. But Girl with the Dragon Tattoo was one of my picks years ago before it became famous. And that was quite a powerful story, and it was pretty graphic. But sometimes, you know, if it's done right, you know, I think, you know, but yeah, you should join. You could join as a publisher, and you could get 5 of your books featured in our newsletter throughout the year. So Paul Roberson is my web person, and he does my newsletter for me. So if you want, I can hook you up with Paul. Paul is, he loves your genre. He went to the University of Texas like me, but he's like, he's like my baby brother, because he's just like in his 30s and I'm 64, but he is a dynamo. And you'll see him up on my website because he does the newsletter and stuff. But I have a team. I have Mandy, I have Paul Roberson, and then I have a Pulpwood Queen that lives here that does all my mailings for me. I have a lot of volunteer people that help me. But basically, when it comes to programming everything, it's pretty much all down to me. You know, it's a one woman show, but we welcome anybody regardless of race, color, religion, economic background, gender. You know, if you want to join our book club, we're an inclusive book club. The only time I've ever not refused to have somebody back was when they told me that they didn't have time to read other people's books. And they had gone to every one of my authors and asked them to blurb their book, and they were calling me saying, "Who is this guy?" And I said, "What did he do?" And he said, "Well, he asked me to read their book," and these were New York Times bestselling authors, but he asked 450 some of them. So I went to him and I said,
Oh,
"Listen."
industrious. He was industrious.
I said, I understand when you want it so bad, but unless you're going to read their books and blurb them for them, are you going to read their books? You 459 people he contacted. And he said, "Oh, I don't have time to read their books."
Mm.
And I said, "You just said the wrong thing to me." And I said, "Who makes," my big line is, "Who makes up these rules?" There are no rules, but there is common decency. And, you know, you can't come in and just, it's me, me, me. You have to, you know, if you're going to ask somebody to blurb your book, you've got to blurb their book or read their book or share their book or something. We're a community. We're not we don't want that. We want people to be helpful to each other and, you know, be kind and generous. So we welcome you, James.
I'll be there.
We'll crown you king.
Open arms, open arms.
All my guys say, "Do I have to wear a crown?" And I go, "You know what? If you want to put on a ball cap that has king on it, it's fine with me."
I can wear a crown. I can't wear a tiara. I don't look good in tiara. Too
Oh,
much hair.
you know, when I was in Atlanta, Georgia, on Good Morning Atlanta, and I remember the first lady of the Georgia was there, the governor's wife, and met her. And this guy was interviewing me and he said, "Well, I want to be in your book club." I said, "Well, you can be in my book club." And he goes, "What's the guys called?" I go, "Timber Guys." He goes, "Well, where'd you get that name?" I said, "Well, you know, at the time when I was married, I said to my husband, I said, if I was going to have guys in my book club, we're the Pulpwood Queens. Do we want Pulpwood Kings?" He goes, "Nah, we're just going to be the Timber Guys." And I said, "Well, we've got a motto. Our motto is where tiaras are mandatory and reading good books is the rule." And I was talking on this show, telling this guy this story. And he said, "So the Timber Guys have their own motto?" And I said, "Yeah, my ex-husband now came up with the idea." But I go, and they even had t-shirts made. And he said, "What's their motto?" I said, "Theirs is got wood." This guy.
There you go. That's the guy thing.
He just lost it. He lost it. And he said, "We're going to break for a television." He was coughing. He goes, "We're going to break for a television commercial." When we came back, he came back out carrying a 2x4. We had so much fun in Atlanta. That was so funny. But, you know, I don't take myself very seriously. I just want to have fun with our book club. I've spoke to so many book clubs through the years that are very literary and pretentious. And I mean, the first book club, when I started this store in my hometown, invited me, the local ladies. And I was so excited. I knew all of them. They were all garden club members. And I went to this beautiful plantation home, wore this big hat and Southern belle dress. And at the end of the meeting, I said, "Oh my gosh, what are we going to be reading next week? I'm so excited. I just always wanted to be in a book club." And the hostess jumped up and little bitty thing, she took me by the elbow. I'm kind of a big girl. And she took me by the elbow out to her plantation hallway and whispering, she goes, Kathy, I don't know how to tell you this, but she goes, unless, you know, there's 8 in our book club because that's all that really fits around the table. So unless somebody dies or moves away, there's only can be 8 in our book club. And I go, oh my gosh, I was really embarrassed. I was a lot younger. Now I go, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. I'm here today, and there's
Yeah.
8
Buy
members.
a bigger table. How's that?
Right?
How about that?
Well, I thought, how did you get me here as a guest? But anyway, I was basically blackballed out. So as I was driving home, I go, who made up that rule? There could only be 8 in a book club. And I don't know why I think they were just checking me out. You know, I don't really know, but you know, that scene in The Help where the girl goes to with the pie to the house, and they all hide, you know, that's kind of what they did to me. And unless you've ever been in that situation where you've been not included, you know, that's a horrible feeling. When you and I thought, well, I'm going to be the queen of the underdogs. And I thought, don't we all deserve to wear the crown? I mean, we're juggling multiple jobs and working harder than we've ever worked in our lives. You know, maybe one night of the month we could crown ourselves kings and queens, get together, have a little wine, conversation, let our hair down a bit, and just talk, have a conversation about fun stuff, about hard stuff, but nobody needs to take anything personally. Or, you know, I've been in book club with some women for so many years. I know if they're going to hate my book. I know if they're going to hate it. I know if they're going to love it. But sometimes I pick the ones they hate anyway, because we need to have the conversation. Because there's no way to ever get to a better tomorrow unless we bring these tough topics out in a way that, you know, I've always said, you know, what would Jesus do? You know, and now I say things like, what would Dolly Parton do? I mean, I'm thinking, oh, what would Shah Rukh Khan do, who's one of my favorite Indian actors? What would, you know, be a decent human being, listen to other people, and if you don't agree, that's okay. I can't get along with half the people in my family, but I still love them. You know, you've just got to have enough, I guess, love in your heart to know that that's all we're really supposed to do, is love everybody. Not everybody's going to think the same way we do. And I've had my mind completely changed on lots of things, just because I listened. So I think that's why we read, is because I think reading is the way to world peace myself. You read books from other countries, other stories, and we do. And you read, I'll tell you what, you read Jay Shetty's book, I'm telling you, you will come away feeling like a brand new person. This guy is awesome. I just noticed he's got Will and Jada Smith on the back. I mean, he's Deepak Chopra. I mean, he's got great blurbs, but I've been watching his blogs and I just think he's just a lovely person. And so I look for those visionaries, and that's the kind of books I like to pick. I like to pick people who are lifting people up and explaining, you know, a lot of different things. And I like to read books from all over the world. So that's why we're the International Book Club. So
I love it.
y'all.
I love it. Well, we are coming up close to 7:59. So does anybody have any questions that they want to ask Kathy before I let us all go for this evening? Anybody?
Say something?
And listen, if you don't want to ask me now, oh, can't believe somebody's calling me. If you don't want to ask me now, email me, thepulpwoodqueen@gmail.com. I love this. I spend a lot of time talking to people every single day. And if I don't answer, it's probably because I'm on the line with somebody else. But leave your number. Tell me how I can get back in touch with you. And I just can't thank you guys so much for having me again back on the show. And we'll be talking, Sandy, Amy, everybody, about I haven't even started working on the program yet, because I got to get the new roof on, and the heat and air conditioner back on in my house before I start working on Girlfriend Weekend 2000.
So we're going to be looking forward to promoting that and being part of that in 2022. So can't wait,
Well,
Kathy.
memorize Mandy, because if you can't get a hold of me, Mandy, tell them your email address. Can you hear me?
What? Mandy.pulpwoodqueen@gmail.com.
And Mandy, I just sent you a friend request on Facebook, so I look forward
Oh,
to.
all right.
Before we go,
Nice to meet everybody.
before we go, besides her books, you've got to tell your latest story real quick, Mandy, of what happened to you with she's a journalist too. She just made the cover of a magazine for her story. Tell quickly that story real quick.
I just had my first cover story, and it's on Peck High School, which the last graduating class was in 1969. The school closed in 76 when forced integration happened. It's a Rosenwald school that's here in Fernandina. And I interviewed 7 alumni.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so from the class of 58 to the class of 70.
Wow.
So it's been so much fun.
Up on her Facebook page. You guys got to check it out.
I'm going to go look at that. That sounds great, Mandy. I can't wait to read about
I'm
it.
so proud of her. So
I'm going to write a book about it.
Yes,
Yeah, you should.
I'm from Florida, and I know exactly where Fernandina Beach is. So great.
you can
She
pronounce.
can say it.
So funny. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Amy.
Oh,
We'll see you
of course.
all down the road. And anytime you want to, just tag me if you want me to post anything. And we'll just jump on board. Let's help each other out. Okay?
Of course, Kathy, thank you so much for taking the time to come and talk to us. I have talked to you on Author Talk, and I just love you. You can ask Sandy. I have just been like, I love this woman. You're so much like me, and I absolutely adore it. So thank you so much for taking the time out. You guys, if you have any other questions, you can always send them to Kathy herself, or if you need help with that, you can always send them to me. You guys know I'm an open book, and I can forward them to her and get you the answers that you need. But you guys, book clubs are important for authors, publishers, all of us, especially during COVID, to get in contact with our readers and to build that relationship with them. Readers are why you write books, besides the fact that you're passionate, and you need to connect with them because they are your biggest fans that can spread your book and get you more book sales and just contribute to you being an author and support. So they are super important. So check out the pulpwoodqueen.com. Sandy, do you have anything you want to say?
I was just going to say it's another way to be visible in the 21st century. That's been my mantra for this year, is be visible in the 21st century. So book clubs, join them. And so check out this. I mean, $50 a year. I'm sorry. That is just downright cheap. So thank you, Kathy. That's such an affordable price for authors. And go check it out and see what all you get for that. And
you'll get a great book coming your way too.
Break even. Can't wait. Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you. Great to meet you, James. Bye, everybody.
Bye,
See
you guys.
Bye. Good meeting you. We'll be talking.
Okay.